Hello and welcome to the Warhammer Podcast, episode 138. I'm your host, Brad. This is my co-host, Bricky.
How's it going?
And with us once again is our guest host, Eric.
What's up, gamers?
And today we're going through there is no data slate. We're going through a points update and a bunch of FAQ stuff that changed, including stuff that's errata in FAQs that are hidden all around the place, and my thoughts on that being a thing still somehow. But without any further ado, let's jump into this disaster.
Sounds good. Well, considering that the two of these people won't be doing the shilling, I will be the one to do it today. And it's important because today is a very big day for the shilling. Introducing Warhammer Dice. That's right. You can get yourself the wonderful luck of Brad and the wonderful misfortune of Eric by going ahead and snagging yourself these beautifully colored green and gold Warhammer dice with the signature PH on the 6 logo. And if you're thinking to yourself, God, I hate Warhammer, why am I here? Well, even better. We have a ton of other fantastic dice options, such as all of the various god-specific dice, something involving a rat, and most importantly, dice that you can flush down the toilet. That's right, cheater dice available now. Disclaimer being said, these are not actually loaded dice. They just have a toilet on them because it's a very funny meme. Buy now!
Absolutely amazing.
Holy shit.
But yeah, check it out. It's a whole bunch of new dice that you can snag, as well as all of the other merchandise like the mugs, the objective markers, all that cool stuff. You know, get prepped for Christmas. All proceeds go to a terrible podcast and their worse merch baron.
I'm just excited for the dice to sell out like the mats did. That would be hilarious.
It's going to take like about the same amount of time to get more dice, though. About like 30,000 dice. So God, I hope that you guys don't sell out day one.
I mean, that's barely enough for an orc list.
That's right, Orc players. Make sure you buy enough dice to play Eric's meme list where he had 200 and something dice in a shooting phase.
I'm ready for a boring points change and us to stretch it for an hour.
As Bricky said, there's no data slate, so there was a lot less documents to go through this time. There was only every single index document that had updates. The core rules got updated again, so you had to go to the core rule errata doc. Every codex had a different one to do. The Minotaurum Field Manual, obviously, that's the core of it, is the point changes. So it was a casual, like, 30 fucking documents again, just to find out what changed.
After the, like, index card version thing that you sent,
yeah, that saved my life.
Is there like a bunch after that, or
no? The index cards is what saves your life, but still, GW, please patch notes. Just one document that says faction list of changes. Here's a link to the documents that show them.
It's pretty close with that index cards PDF, but like it isn't. And like also it would be nice to have one doc that's like, here's the changes from the last doc, not the here's all of the changes since, you know, edition launch.
Yeah, little things would have been nice. I would have liked some point values next to my little green arrows.
Yeah, that's always annoying, but it's better than it was. We can continue to improve though.
Correct. So we'll discuss all of the bigger changes that occurred. There are a few of them, as much as we're memeing on this being like a non-change. However, before we start, I just want to get the general warning out of the way that we're going to do every time, because I feel like it's important to remind people. All of these balance updates, no matter how extreme they look, will do very little to your average casual list. Meta Thousand Suns got pointed to oblivion. The list changed by 1.3 units, basically. That is the big nerf that is like horrendous, and we don't know how we'll ever recover from this financially. It's literally less than 10 rubrics of points in the meta list. There are errata impacts in this update that we'll get into, but from a general, like when you see some, you know, meta chaser complaining about the point updates and how they got it totally wrong, or they went too hard or too light on places, in your average game of Warhammer 40k, this update will do literally nothing to determine who the winner is.
And the main reason that we discuss this most importantly is that this is like a great thing for us to theorize and talk about, and it's always enjoyable to have like balanced discussion, that kind of thing.
We like bitching, we like fretting over things.
It's very fun, and since, you know, like I myself attend tournaments, sometimes this stuff really does matter. The first faction we talk about is a very big one, but at the same time, it should be noted that 99% of the people that are watching this, and that's not even a hyperbole, it genuinely does mean 99%, are arguably more, will not feel this in any real measurable metric, because on the whole, you guys play 1.3 games of Warhammer a month.
That's probably still people lying high too.
I feel like that's a high for most players, just because like playing a game of Warhammer is the day basically for a lot of people. So how many days do you have off that you can just play games? But it's something to keep in mind as we're going through all of these and like talking about, oh, there's a 5-point change and this is why it mattered. Like, it doesn't, but we're still going to talk about it because it's fun.
So, any general changes you guys want to talk about, like core rules wise?
Secret objective change stuff is kind of a thing. I mean, they did change up a lot of the missions in a way, and that is like cool to see. Happy about that.
And that is how you win.
You do win by points at the end of the day, no doubt. The Pariah Nexus Tournament Companion thing is cool, and secret missions are way, way, way better than the Gambits.
Yeah, well, anything is better than the Gambits were.
True. I will say that I do consider it to be really good changes for the most part on the whole when it comes to the missions themselves, but I don't really know if there's enough to talk about. It's a little bit too deep into the minutia, and I feel like a lot of people don't care either because they mostly care about the points.
Oh yeah, and like even if you are using these updated missions for your general play, I don't think there was any huge changes that are like, oh, this is going to change how you're going to build lists kind of thing. It's just there's some caps on how many victory points you can score, and like secret missions aren't this perfect silver bullet when it happens. You flipped everything. It's not quite that anymore. But
did you guys see the end of the Pariah Nexus pack, that little afterword? Was that there before?
Yeah, what's the point of a 40k tournament? That's printed in every pack.
Gotcha. Because it is kind of funny, because it basically is the corporate kind way of saying, don't take it so seriously, good God, just play the goddamn game.
It's one of my favorite things. I actually think it's in the core rulebook too.
There was at least something like it in the core rulebook of like, this was meant to be fun. It can be competitive, but like, remember, it's a game.
Yeah, it's kind of funny to see that, but they did do it well.
So with all of these nice warm feelings about that, let's do some bitching. Bricky, tell me about how they ruined Sisters with these 5-point changes.
Yeah, that's the thing. You see red. Once again, they still haven't done the thing where they put the amount of points next to the area.
That's so irritating.
Which I don't know why they won't do that. It makes me lose my mind. Just do that.
AOS does it. We just came from doing a big stint of AOS. The amount of things coming back to 40k that were whiplash of like, guys, you're like down the hall from each other at worst. Someone walk over there.
I feel like it's when it was originally decided that they're going to color code it at the very least, there was like, oh, do we put the points from like the last update, or do we put the points from like the codex in the, parentheses old or whatever you want to call it? And so they just said, fuck it, let's not do anything. I can kind of see that leading to where we're at, but good God, is it annoying.
I think what crushes me the most about that is the simple fact that it is that easy. Us here can do it, because that's just the thing that always throws me. I can format a document to put the points next to the thing. It is not like, there's always the thing where it's like, well, we're commenting on video games and I can't make a video game. Like, I can do this. And that's what bugs me the most, because if it's doable for me, like a layman, it's so doable for them. But anyway, to move past that, Sisters were one of the best armies in the game. Were they the best?
They were up there. They're top 3.
Thousand Sons and Drukhari could be complaining.
Space Wolves, if you're playing Wolf Jail still.
True. Yeah, so they're basically one of the best armies in the game. Some things, like it is a lot of like 5-point ups. Some of them are definitely deserved. Castigator, 100%. Dominions, Immolator, that whole thing was nasty. The Vol Paragons was insanely good, so that's also a thing. The only one I'm kind of like turning my head at is the Triumph going up 60.
I was so excited to hear your thoughts on that one, because like it went from 190 to 250. It's good.
It's extremely good. It is an insane unit.
But like, that's a hell of a jump.
I mean, this is the thing. This is what separates the really good players from the best players, is that they realize that if you want to be insanely good at 40k, you need to learn how important movement is. Mm-hmm. And when they decided to give the Triumph a relic that gives you +2 to your move and a +1 to your advance and charge, I saw that and I was like, oh, so you get to pick one relic because you'll never ever not use this one. So it's kind of more on the line of, I feel like if they wanted to properly do it, they would have data slated the Triumph to nerf that relic. But But as we know, they, for no reason, decide to only do that twice a year.
And it wasn't this time, even though we expected it to be this time.
So they did say when they were arguing to do it twice a year that it was going to be summer than winter, but I was kind of hoping they would just give up on that because it's stupid.
It is very stupid. But like, Sisters will go down, no doubt. Bringers of Flame was the best. I don't think they're going to be like bad though. Unfortunately, they said something about changing how they're going to do Miracle Dice a bit in the winter one, and that terrifies me.
Yeah.
How much do you want these nerfs to actually like punt them downwards so that like when they re-examine Miracle Dice, it's not one of those, oh, we're fucked.
It's too late. The fact that they put that in an article, they're committed to they're changing something. And they said later this year is the last update. We've got like 9 weeks left, guys.
Yeah, and like you don't release stuff in like the last 2 weeks of December. That would be insane.
You say that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing. I think that they definitely needed a nerf. I think this is a pretty good nerf for the most part. I'm not too worried about it.
I like that Sisters is going this way because like I enjoyed that they had a very powerful codex and cost more points and are becoming more elite due to that fact. The opposite of what Genestealers is having going on. I like that because like, to put this in perspective, the Combat Patrol with the new points after all these nerfs is still not 400 points. It's in the 300, still at 380. Sisters is still goddamn expensive and they're supposed to be pretty elite.
Yeah, I mean, that is one of those things to keep in mind, like when they make points, either, you know, cheaper points or more expensive. Like if you have the ability to put another unit in your list, that's another unit somebody has to buy. There's a monetary value associated to following these point updates.
And there's something about having a model that costs a lot of points and feels like it's worth a lot of points. We'll get back to this subject when we get to Space Marines, but I prefer this over the your rules suck ass, so you are essentially 5 points for everything in the army, and therefore you have to field a truck of models.
There was also a quick like FAQ that like Penitent Host has to use it every turn. You can't just be like, nah, I'm good on this turn, I'll use it next, which I guess was good to confirm, but like it seemed pretty obvious that that's how it was originally worded.
I don't really like that because I kind of prefer if you could just not do one turn one, because that's kind of your staging turn.
Absolutely, it would be stronger if you get to choose, but like,
oh well, I guess they'll take the movement one. No, I don't know. Sisters are weird. They're a weird faction. Their rules are insanely good, and that's kind of how they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be bad data sheets with really good rules on them. And yeah, they were taking everything. I think other people are paying a bit for the sins of Bringers of Flame, because this has been mainly Bringers of Flame.
So like basically everybody was playing Bringers of Flame. Like there was some others.
A few martyrs, yeah.
You were playing Bringers of Flame realistically. This doesn't really change that.
I don't think it does. Plus one strength within half, especially on Meltas from 9 to 10 is insane. And army-wide advance and shoot is just, it's so good. Especially when you have the Triumph, which is giving you 3 inches of movement technically when you're advancing and shooting.
Right.
For your whole army if you're doing it properly. It's just woof.
And like 60-point increase on Triumph is like a lot, but still probably worth it.
It is one of those things I'm a little bit worried about where like now it's the only way to play because it was that good. But we'll see what happens. I'm more scared about the Miracle Dice nerf. That's just terrifying to me.
Okay, here's an interesting one. Call your shot for next hot takes, next data slate. What are they going to do with Miracle Dice, and what do you fear they're going to do?
Oh, I think they're going to give you less, for one. So I think they're going to adjust some of the various abilities on the people to give you fewer. And after that, I'm getting the feeling that maybe some of the abilities to let you modify them will be worse. Like the Dialogus, maybe. That's kind of how I would imagine. Because at the moment, I don't see them changing the rule. Maybe they might go crazy and be like, you can't use this for a charge roll or something.
I was going to ask, like, do you think that they would just remove one of the options, like advance replacement, or, you know, like one of those just goes away?
They might, but that, like, it's been so solidified. It would feel so wrong. It's been so solidified as a concept for so long that I just, that seems dumb. I hope they don't. I don't know. My assumption is that they won't change the army rule. My assumption assumption is they will change certain data sheets that give you miracle dice. Like maybe Morven Vol doesn't get to get a free miracle dice every time she kills something when she's juiced or something like that, you know? Or maybe the Dialogus isn't as powerful, something like that.
All right, we're going to speed through some of these just because there's not much to talk about. Custodes, I don't think you're going to stop me here, Bricky. Praetors went down slightly. They're still not great. Trajan's down. I don't think anything's going to change with Custodes right now.
How in the goddamn hell did the Telemon not go down? Are they insane?
Hey, they FAQ'd it, didn't they? So that now his double fist mode that you would never take gives you +2 attacks or something, I'm pretty sure.
The Telemon is so cool. Why are they doing this?
Nah, they understand that Telemon's dumb and it's going away because it's dumb.
Well, it's definitely going away.
Reminder, this is Eric's take, not our take. Stop pulling me into Eric's stupidity.
Well, now hold on. He's not entirely wrong. If you do have a lot of these, you are a little dumb because they are Forge World, and you know what happens to Forge World people. It will come for you too.
It was kind of disappointing not to see some of the Witch Seekers or something like that get a little bit, but...
All right, Admech. Yup, there was buff nerfs. You were already in a confusing spot where your win rate's not bad, but no one was playing you, and like people were finally playing you like in the last couple weeks here, so it's very likely that very little of this points update was based off of the more recent weeks.
I mean, I think it's cool that Dominus, Manipulus, and the Engine Seer went down. I don't know if it's enough to choose anything other than Skitarii Hunter, but...
Remember when we all like coomed about the Dune Crawler and its insane stuff and then no one ran it? And now it's down.
I love that his data sheet finally does things, but like it's still...
It only went down 5 in fairness, so...
155 is still probably a bit high.
Admech needs a lot of codex level work. They got their data slate update that was basically let's patch the codex to not be the biggest turd we've ever made and just make it a normal bad codex. Admech is just the best spot it's going to get unless they want to try for a second run of that, or if they want to just give up and make a second codex in the same edition. There's no way it happens, but like that's the only out.
I mean, at a certain point, like if you drop enough points, you can make it good, but it won't play like Admech as like anybody wants to play.
It's exactly what I was arguing with. Sisters going up and being more elite feels good. Dropping points on Admech to make them good feels like trash. The entire point and why we were happy with the data slate change that moved them up in the first place was it makes them feel more like Admech are supposed to be, where they're not just guard in red suits.
Yeah, we call those the Vestroyan Firstborn.
No one knows Vestroyan anymore, old man.
I know. I'm sad. Someone said something recently. They were like, if Bricky is the vanguard of the Zoomerfication of 40K or something like that. And I found that really funny because...
You always quote things that are like 10 years before we ever played.
I was about to say, like, I'll say things like, damn, I can't wait for my Mordian Iron Guard. And they're just like, who?
All right, old man.
All right, so IG next.
What the hell, dude? Oh, we're going through the show notes. My bad. I forgot. You guys do like the Imperium Chaos Xenos thing instead of going by alphabetical order, like troglodytes.
Pure alphabetical order with no organizational structure whatsoever. Like we're in fucking elementary school is psychotic. No. So IG.
No nerf to Lord Solar Leontis has me very questioned. Tank commanders went up 20, but they gained squadron, so they can now be ordered and benefit from getting, lethal hits on every other enemy vehicle and monster.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, that's just a massive buff to tank commanders, right?
It's huge, genuinely huge. Though it is 20 points up, but also when they die, they shoot back, which is insane. Also, Bulgrin went up, so less of that. Ogrin went down. Have you guys seen an Ogrin's data sheet? So they're like actually kind of nutty. Ogrin went down to 60 for 3 or 120 for 6. They're basically 3 shots of a heavy bolter at 18-inch range, but rapid fire 3.
But inaccurate.
They hit on 4s, yeah, but if you shoot at the closest possible target, you get +1 AP. So each Ogrin, if you're within 9, is putting out 6 shots at 5-2-2. And even though it's hitting on 4s, you are still like a T6 body with 3 wounds and a 6 up feel no pain. So it's like, I don't know, it's something. My original idea was to run as many Bulgrin as I possibly could in a Shadow Sword. So you roll up and it's like 72 heavy bolter shots shots coming out of a Baneblade chassis. It was very funny.
Yeah, seems entertaining, but it's the kind of thing that like shouldn't be the best. I see that the Bulgarins went up by 20 points.
Yeah, they're your classic infantry anvil for guard right now, so...
Yeah, but like fielding 18 of those is a bit excessive and could be fun, but shouldn't be like the default option for lists kind of thing. It feels wrong.
No, I'm being very goofy about this, don't worry. Also, the heavy weapons and field ordnance going down is kind of all right. I think it's because they're artillery and took the big only on a 4-up nerf. Though I won't lie, I mean 50 points for 3 las cannons as a heavy weapon squad, even hitting at like 5s or 4s depending, is kind of funny.
Wasn't it early edition, this edition, where it was you took mortars and had Creed do buffs to them?
Yeah, you did like overlapping fields of fire and a couple of other weird things, but don't worry about it. Honestly, I don't know. Guard's doing pretty well as far as I'm concerned, and this nerfs parts of it, but Leontis hiding behind a wall with his boys making a Rogel Dorn like delete your army is still a thing, so I don't really know. Anyway, I've talked enough. Can we go to Eric now?
Yeah, sure. We can talk Grey Knights. Not really much change. The Terminators and Paladins went down like 10 points for their small squad size. The big still the same, and then Purgations went down 10. The Purgation one is fine. They were always a bit expensive, and I think they're kind of neat, but whatever. The Terminators and Paladins only having their small squad go down, I don't think that's going to matter at a 2k point game. I just really don't. But I think it's huge for any lower point game, like a 1k game. You're taking smaller squad sizes of these units, and it's going to help quite a bit for you to actually have enough units to play the game, essentially. So I'm pretty happy about it. It's just, I mean, it's pretty small. Like, there's no big changes going on that really matter.
Sounds to me like you need a codex.
Yeah.
Be careful wishing for that in 10th edition.
Well, they can't fuck it up worse. They really can't. For me personally.
Challenge accepted.
For me personally, they can't fuck it up worse because Psychic is already gone for me.
No Psychic, no hammers, no bitches.
Honestly, Grey Knights is in a solid spot. If you just, like, if you're enjoying Grey Knights now, it's in a good spot. But, so hopefully the Codex, when it comes out, doesn't ruin it for them.
All right, Imperial Knights, real quick. Points updated very slightly. Literally nothing changes because of how much Knights cost. The amount things change unless you're running like exactly a Castellan, a Gallant, a Valiant, and then the rest is things that weren't changed in points. You might be able to squeeze one more Armiger in there.
That's kind of the thing of Knights lists. Your unit that's the smallest point cost is 140. So like your 2k list is basically subdivided into chunks of 140. Taking 20 points off doesn't really do anything.
I mean, you get some agents of the Imperium or something to just kind of toss in there. This might be the difference of adding like one Arbites squad.
Can Soup just die?
It is one of those that these might make it so that, you know, your list with 1960 points went down a bit and you can fit an agent in. But like, sure.
Yeah, I mean, the difference between having one thing of like Arbites in your list as an Imperial Knights versus 2 does kind of matter a little bit, just because of the way Knights are, but I don't know. Imperial Knights shoot pretty hard.
Speaking of splashing in Imperial agents, though, nothing changed. Oh, one thing changed. The fuckers fixed the funny thing that was going to be part of our next meme episode, finally.
The Matryoshka doll rhinos.
Yeah, I was not going to make it the meme list for the next meme episode, and then they didn't fix it in the FAQ for the Codex, and I was like, well, now it's fair game, I can do it. And then they fixed it now. And I'm like, come on. At that point, just let me have it for the fun.
No, because it's so terribly stupid.
It's so stupid. We'll probably still discuss that on the next meme episode, knowing it's dead, but it was glorious that existed. I guess it's time to rip the bandage off and talk about the Baskin Robbins.
The fucking what?
Baskin Robbins, 31 flavors.
Blood Angels, obviously. Baskin Robbins.
Dark Angels, Space Wolves, fucking Iron Hands. Do you want some fucking chocolate chips?
Space Marines, basically.
I thought this was specifically a Blood Angels joke, not a Special Snowflake Space Marines joke. And so I was like, is it blood flavored?
It's your faction that has more detachments than the rest of the game combined right now, bitching because their favorite color didn't get buffed enough. Go fuck yourselves, all of you, right now, Space Marine players. I do not care about your fucking problems.
Do you imagine if Baskin Robbins released a blood flavored thing for like Halloween?
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, Salt and Straw would do that. But I may not be as vile and heinous as someone like Brad might be, but I do feel like we go over this every single time where they're like, why did Space Marines go up in X reason, without realizing that the points don't matter. It's the detachments that matter. And it's more on the Games Workshop fault that why in goddamn hell are they not buffing like Anvil and X and Y? And the reason is obvious, because you can also like just use divergent chapters anyway, because the entirety of the Space Marine thing is a total mess.
Basically,
it's so frustrating because going through like how's everyone feel about their part of the update, just to make sure like I'm giving everyone a fair take when we're doing our takes on it, and I don't want to like overly insult a certain fan base that's going through a rough time or whatever.
Unless
right?
they're Space Marines, fuck them.
Yeah, I get to the Space Marine ones and they're like, I don't get it. Why did this get nerfed? It's only good if you're playing a good list. And I'm like, damn, your fucking Iron Hands list that you were playing in the Salamanders detachment sucked. I'm sorry, idiot.
I mean, that's just one of the complicated things about trying to balance Space Marines because of how they've decided to make this amalgamation. There are unique things that should be balanced around them, but they also get access to everything else, so you can just pick good stuff and then put your own good stuff in, and it's like, I don't know, man, sure.
I fully support the one argument of if you take divergent chapter units where the unit only exists in that chapter, you get locked to those sub-factions just to make balance easier on the non-divergent units of like, they still probably will get nerfed because of divergent chapters being the best use case for a generic unit, but you won't have to worry about the entire Space Wolves taking, like...
Space Wolves and Stormlance should not exist.
Yeah, that's the, like, key one, is that, or I know some people were bitching that, what got nerfed that Dark Angels was the one taking?
I know Van Vets got nerfed because of Blood Angels, and no one else uses them.
I'm sorry, I got my Angels mixed up.
How could you?
Yeah, that was the main one, I believe, because there's also, like, Apothecary Biologists and Eradicators got nerfed because Fire Discipline Gladius was so damn strong.
It's frustrating because it's like, in any other non-Space Marine faction, I'm not going to bitch as a Necron player that, hey, it's not fair. My Monolith got nerfed because Hypercrypt Legion is using it too well. It's like, well, no shit, play the right fucking detachment with your model. I have no pity for the Space Marine players who are complaining about this stuff. I get the complaints of, hey, it's not fair that we're getting nerfed because you're taking 15 Space Wolf units and jamming them into a non-Space Wolf detachment. That one's fair. But when it's, oh, my good units in the good detachment are too good, and it means that when I use them poorly, they get nerfed. That's not a real complaint. That's how the game works. That's how every faction that's not Space Marines expects the game to function.
You're not wrong, but also, like, Space Marines, given how they're, like, the poster child, they're the one that is, like, the gateway, it makes sense that they don't want to like limit your accessibility kind of stuff, but like,
no, again, I fully supported the way Space Marines went with 10th edition of trying to open it up and broaden it and not lead to new player painted the wrong color. That's fine.
Here's the thing, right? I also agree that a lot of people just fundamentally don't understand Space Marine balance because of that reason. I also say that Games Workshop, how they've set it up, is terrible and it's causing the issue to begin with.
Yes.
And it's annoying because one, I think we can all agree, if you take Blood Angels characters, you have to take the Blood Angels detachment. That is a fine restriction. You have the special codex, you have the extra detachments, that's the point there. If you're taking Ultramarines and running them in Vanguard, like people often do, that's like fine. I don't want to force you into Gladius, right? Like there's a little bit of leeway with that kind of thing. I think what annoys me more is that fundamentally a massive amount of the detachments that are screwed up are tied to the concept of a Space Marine chapter, which people have a lot of personal pride in. No one, I mean, some people might be, but very few people are upset that the obeisance phalanx in Necrons is bad, because who gives a shit? It's just a Necron variant. Same thing with a lot of the other detachments that no one necessarily cares about. I wish they weren't bad, that'd be good balance, but alas.
But like there isn't quite the emotionally charged attachment that Space Marine chapters often in half.
Yeah, but what's really even doubly more annoying than that is that if you wanted to make those chapters good, you wanted Stormlance by itself good, you would have to firstly section off all of the separate codex ones away in order to do that, because if you don't do that, then you get an even more powerful Stormlance or something. But even so, it is kind of funny because there might be a lot of complaints about Space Marine nerfs. Sorry that I'm going on a long time here, but even with that, you go to Codex Space Marines, it's mostly green. Like 3 Storm Speeders went down, Terminators, Suppressors, Gilliman and the Lion, Reavers, Outright, like all of the bikes, Outriders, Invader ATVs, Invictors, Heavy Intercessors, like a ton of stuff went down, especially for like White Scars people, like Outriders, Invaders, like that kind of stuff. Like that's all Storm Speeders. That's great. But Stormlance is dog shit. Well, maybe not dog shit, but it's not good. And then if you make it good, then the Space Wolf players are like, oh, mine? And then they take it.
Yeah.
It's less that Stormlance is bad. It's more that Space Marines has no units that care about Stormlance outside of Space Wolves. Because what are you going to use? Fucking Outriders? Go read that data sheet.
I mean, on that, where do we want to start, like, actually talking about these?
I don't think most of them need much discussion. One thing I want to talk about, though, coming back from doing AOS stuff and coming back to 40k stuff, people celebrating that Gilliman is down to 285 points.
Yeah.
The Primarch, who is currently leading the Imperium, the stand-in for the Emperor of Mankind,
Wielding his sword.
wielding the Emperor's sword, is 285 points, and he might maybe be worth it.
So is Lion.
The Lion will be 85 points by the end of the edition, as I saw someone make a comment about. It made me laugh.
I don't even want to talk about when we get to Death Guard.
It is weird, especially coming from AOS, where like they have 800 point models, and it's like, oh yeah, that feels like an 800 point model.
Yeah, and they feel perfectly balanced, or at least very well balanced. You're like, damn, this doesn't feel like a meme to take, and at the same time, they are not oppressive either, usually.
It's one of those that, like, when Gaz came out and, you know, he was like 230 or something like that, or 240, and like you look at his data and like, I thought he was supposed to be like, you know, Primarch tier level kind of stuff, and it's like, oh no, they're just bringing the Primarchs down to his level now. Apparently that's the new baseline of Primarch power, which is like a slightly good character.
They're slightly better than a captain. They could probably take a custodian in one-on-one, maybe.
Yeah.
I could take 5 guys.
I can't afford 5 guys, Mr. Money Pit.
Oh, that's not the response. You're supposed to be like in a fight, right?
No, I'd rather do the timely joke of 5 guys being too goddamn expensive.
Well, they are going to keep being that if the Space Marine points keep going down. Speaking of, do we want to talk about Blood Angels? It just seemed like the Ball Predator and a lot of the stuff got hit, and then like Death Company went down, and that was about it.
These are codex points, to remind you. This is not based off the current index ones. So unless you're playing with the codex.
Yeah, which is like still too new for like any of this to really mean anything to me.
But I mean, it's Blood Angels. They seem like they were doing very, very well, and then it's hard to tell because they just got their codex, so it's probably good that we don't spend too much time on them.
Dark Angels, the Deathwing Knights going up seems like it's gonna matter to most lists, honestly.
Yeah, they had a lot of those.
But like, it's probably fine. Lion's down, that means it's gonna be fine, right?
I mean, for the most part, it seemed like their crazy stuff went up a little bit, and then their not so crazy stuff went down a little bit. So that's kind of fine. I mean, Deathwing Knights only went up 15, and Azrael went up 10. Azrael still goated with the sauce and quirked up. So
Yeah, I mean, I think they're probably still worth the points. It's just, again,
well, if they're ran in Gladius, which they are, instead of their own detachments, which maybe will change one day.
maybe. Space Wolves.
Space Wolves got deservedly nerfed. They can join Thousand Sons and Sisters in the Punishment Club. I don't think it was too bad. It's rough.
I mean, Thunderwolf Cav went from 100 to 120. They were like, everybody used that, but that's a lot of points.
I think Space Wolves will be still the best way to be playing Space Marines for right now. Like, nothing actually changed rules wise to make it not still the best list, if that makes sense. It's just the best list will be worse.
I'm not gonna lie, Longfane's going down like 30 points is kind of hilarious. I mean, it's just like heavy weapons, you know, it's like nothing really that important, but just kind of funny how far down they went.
I mean, 150 was ridiculous.
Oh, it's insane, and it should not have occurred, no.
120, the 30 point decrease is like, yeah, that might be good, maybe.
If you're running heavy weapons in Space Wolves, you're doing something wrong, at least if you're spamming them.
Yeah.
And for everyone who's not super special and is running just normal Space Marines,
I mean, there's a bunch of point changes.
Honestly, it is a lot of buffs. I like that the Terminators went down because I just like the Terminators. Suppressors. I mean, here's the thing. All the data sheets are just not good enough. Some are a little bit kind of funny. Like having 10 heavy intercessors at like 19 points a model is kind of crazy. The speeders going down is cool, you know. I actually am a little bit curious about the Outriders and Invader ATV thing.
Don't even.
No. Think of it this way.
Think that anybody's gonna actually play an Invader ATV and be happy about it.
Okay, well, I never said anything about being happy about it. I did not say that. I want to make that clear.
Okay.
But listen, okay, you run 6 Outriders and an Invader ATV, it's 220 points. And when you really think about that, that is 32 wounds at T5 3-up and just like a crapload of random guns. I don't know. It's kind of funny. I would totally at least run one of them just for the S&Gs.
Sure.
It's just, I don't know. That's a lot of wounds. That's like 20 points cheaper than 6 Blade Guard in the Judiciar. And just the idea of like rolling that towards your opponent and just pelting them seems funny to me. You know, if you slap a Chaplain on bike to that, it's 295 as well. But then when you do that, you know, you get +1 to your wound roll in melee, and you can pick something within 12 and then get dev wounds on it when you shoot at it, which includes their twin bolt rifles, which are twin linked.
All right.
Okay, it's cute.
You might be cooking something there.
You know, I mean, that you can also put a multi-melta and, you know, you get something like that. Listen, 295 for a Chaplain on bike, 6 Outriders, and an Invader ATV that move 12 and have like that many guns. Anyway, I'm done.
All right.
Yeah.
I love arriving and saying like, hey, that's kind of funny looking. Could you imagine? And then never running it and then moving on.
That's probably the best way to deal with the Invader ATV.
Never owning one.
Yeah. Thinking of the idea of what it could be, but never actually looking at it. Yeah, I mean, Space Marines, it's a complicated mess, but we can move into chaos, I think.
All right, let's just start off with CSM. Look at all the green.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like, it's a bunch of cool models.
Yeah, I mean, AC/DC got nerfed, but for everything other than my favorite little cultist blob stupidity, everything else, lots of corrections to the previous nerfs.
You're happy about Lord Disco, right?
I'll never be happy about Lord Disco till he gets a new data sheet.
Yeah, his data sheet's bad.
Holy shit, what did they do?
The points don't matter. He just needs a new data sheet. All right.
This is the Primarch thing to the extreme. Like, we're going to talk about this twice in Chaos. Read Lord Disco's data sheet and tell me how many points you would pay for that in a thematic fun list based around his portion of the army.
And his base size.
And also tell me what his portion of the army must be based off his data sheet.
Honestly, you know, I'm very happy to see CSM get the buffs they deserve. I also like that the buffs are on things that are not just mainly underperformers, like, hey, a Blitz down 10, Possess down 5. I also will say I do appreciate GW for once having the foresight to start nerfing the difference between big and small squads. Like Warp Talons got a small squad buff, but the big squad is still spooky.
We've seen that all over this update, actually. When we get to Thousand Suns, we'll be discussing it again.
Yeah, but it was not something that they really did before.
True.
Yeah. They did it last one, but only a little bit. They're doing it more now.
Well, they did it to Scourges 2 ago, and that was like the only instance.
Accursed Cultists especially, though. Like the small squads are the same, but the big squad got a 15-point nerf, and which would, of course, be even more than that because you're going to run that with the Dark Commune.
Yeah, and I think that is a good way of doing these types of balance, because like the easy default is, oh, 5 costs this much, 10 costs double. Sure, that's just math, but like that isn't actually the whole picture, and it is nice to see that they're willing to make those changes.
Can we talk about my boy Vashtor a little bit?
Do we want to actually talk about Vashtor, or do we want to talk about like his detachment?
You're going too far with it. Vashtor is all we need. It's just, Vashtor is just really fun. I think for 175, he's basically just a great beat stick demon prince. Screw the whole demon vehicle thing. Who cares about that?
I do, you fucker.
I would like that detachment to be useful, but I'm willing to hear your Vashtor slaps argument.
Have you fought that detachment before?
I own that detachment.
It kind of hurts at times. Oh, come on. The Forge Fiends with that thing absolutely rip, as do the Venom Crawlers.
Okay, the Venom Crawlers I'm a big fan of right now.
Okay, good.
We can agree on that one, but like...
Now, Vashtor in his own detachment is not that great.
I mean, he did nothing before.
Yeah, well, he still doesn't do much now. But I kind of just like him to go out as his own little asshole because he's T10, 2 up, 4 up, 14 wounds, 12 inches, move and fly. So it's just kind of funny to like run him up to stuff and kind of go out and be his own little beat stick and cause problems. And he still has that 18 inches around him. You get hazardous if you try to shoot at him, which is really, really funny. And for 175, I mean, that's a pretty good distraction, you know?
Technically, he got a buff for being enabled with a couple of strats in his detachment, but like, I don't think that's where he actually gets played. Like you said, it's probably just a beat stick. At 175 is probably decent, but yeah, I mean, overall, CSM...
They'll be better. Will they be good? I don't know, but they'll be better.
Yeah, but if you were a cursed cultist spamming, might need to relook at your list.
I do love the fact that was called ACDC.
ACDC, because it's a cursed cultist with Dark Commune.
I did love that as a concept. Also, there are some other cool things, like Havoc's going down a bit is nice. Terminator and Terminator Sorcerer going down is nice. I'm sorry, I have to do this one more time. Can I also talk about another hilarious bomb that I've been wanting to use?
Absolutely.
So we're aware of the Index detachment, the Pact-Bound Zealots. So as we know, you give marks to individual things, and that gives you sustained or lethal on 5s, depending on shooting or melee, et cetera, et cetera. Chaos Terminator Squad. You deep strike them in. You give them all combi weapons. You deep strike them into some beat stick kind of heavy, chunky infantry. And then you give them the Mark of Nurgle. Let's say you have about, I don't know, 10 of them. You know, you're within half range. That means all of them have, 20 shots total of their combi weapons. You get to reroll the hit roll when you Dark Pact, and you're getting sustained 5 up. So you end with like 28 shots, and all of those are dev wounds, anti-infantry 4 up. So you get like 14 dev wounds naturally out of that shot alone. And then if you wanted to, you could throw like a little Terminator Sorcerer in there as well for the extra reroll advance and charges, as well as rerolling their Warp Blast, which also has dev wounds. And
I'm always a big fan of the Terminator Deep Strike in blow shit up. That's always good fun. So
it's just the combo of the 5 up sustained
that is neat,
mixed with the dev wound with their full rerolls to hit because of Dark Pact. It's just really, it's just really fun, and I've actually used it a couple of times. And now that they've gone down, it's actually pretty nasty because then you just go in there and you pick up like a full squad of Custodian Guard because they're just not prepped for that in shooting, mind you. And you still have reroll charge rolls with your sorcerers. So
all right, yeah, CSM seems like it's a decent buff, but what about Death Guard?
Real quick for Death Guard. Death Shroud Termy's down. They were already like the best thing that Death Guard had there. Morty is down, so you can have failure for 300 points. He's very good, but lore failure for 300 points.
I'm honestly excited about the Death Shroud Terminators going down just because they're so cool.
I don't think anyone has ever looked at Death Guard as a faction and not picked Death Shroud as like the key reason you would want to play them.
They're so cool.
They're so cool, and like it's kind of annoying that they're going down in points to make them better playable kind of thing instead of just being more badass. But like 110, and they're still pretty good. Like the sheet's fine.
They're actually quite good. So it's good. It's buffs. Death Guard was doing okay, so this is just plain better for them. Typhus got hit with the same thing everyone else got hit with already, of the stop sniping lone ops.
At this point, it's one of those where it's like, clearly that's the rule. If it doesn't say it, you're playing it wrong. But Brad, tell me why Thousand Sons is no longer playable.
Well, they completely destroyed the faction. It's entirely different than it was before. We had to drop 5 rubrics and change a character's loadout.
I mean, I totally get some of it. It's so obvious, one of those situations where like, yeah, this is deserved, I guess, but the faction doesn't play how they should, and the Cabal is stupid, and it needs a rules rewrite.
So after I made fun of Space Marine players for their stupid obsession with their armies, all right, so Thousand Sons, to go into like the actual problems with this, we needed a nerf. We were top faction or tied for it, depending on what data you want to look at. I didn't pity Space Wolves. I didn't pity Sisters. Sisters, I don't pity us for getting nerfed right now. It's fine. My main problems still are, while Cabal rituals and Cabal points are how we still manage to keep Psychic in a terrible edition, they have the same problems they had in 9th. I've bitched about it since the index was revealed, and since we saw the first data sheet revealed that didn't have Cabal points on it. It is an incredibly parasitic mechanic, as much as I hate using that word, where you only want to run things that give you Cabal points, because the more Cabal points you have, the more of your army rule you have. This is why no one was playing Forge Fiends, and why the fuck did you nerf Forge Fiends?
Weren't they like really cheap? Wasn't that kind of the thing?
But the point is, no one runs Forge Fiends in Thousand Suns. They do not give you Cabal points. They got run in one team's tournament because the guy made a SKU list so his team could get. It was run in a single fucking tournament by a single guy in a list designed to take out certain other lists.
To be fair, though, the Forge Fiend data sheet for 135 is very good. It's just, like you said, Thousand Suns, each unit that doesn't give Cabal points is a massive detriment to playing the army. So, like, it's just not worth it to have a good stuff unit.
I won't lie, 135 for a tank with 3d3, 10-3-3 guns is very competitive, not to mention that if whatever you shoot doesn't die, it's like -1 to hit. Like, I get that. Going that up by 10 it makes sense. It's not 200 points like it is in CSM or whatever because it gets dev wounds, but that 135 for that package is pretty gross, even if you don't get Cabal points because your army mechanic is awful.
So this is where it's confusing to see that. I understand Enlighten getting nerfed, even though they were like fringe playable, because lists will probably, the default if you were to take a meta list would have been to do a swap around and put Enlighten in their place, and this makes it more uncomfortable to do that. It's whatever. The Forge Fiend one is just the fucking why. MVB, still great at 160, don't care, fucking love them, get the doggo. Magnus, still the GOAT at 465, this is what a fucking Primarch should look like, GW. Get them all to where you want to pay 500 fucking points for the things. So, overall, yes, it's a nerf, yes, it's a heavy-handed nerf, yes, we deserved it, it's fine, get over it. I will say, this is one of the interesting ones I wanted to bring up. For rubrics, the 5-man is the one that got increase in points, not the 10-man. Usually, 10-mans get nerfed harder than 5-mans because you want to have, you know, a big blob that you can buff up in Death Star. But because of Cabal points, we ran rubrics in 5-mans. You would never run them in 10-mans because you're losing out on Cabal points, because you get a Cabal point based on unit count, not on model count. So nerfing the 5-mans is correct. I like seeing stuff like this.
Yeah, it has a similar feeling to like the Grey Knights, where like they're actually like looking at what the unit is supposed to do and basing the points on those different model count variants. You had also brought up the idea of Thousand Suns now in a lower point game given these increases.
Oh yeah, this was just a joke. Yeah, I was talking to other Thousand Sun players and making fun of different list stuff. But yeah, someone brought up like how the fuck do we play at 1,000 points? And the answer is fucking don't anymore. It sucks.
Yeah, because like you just have to have a certain amount of units to get your Cabal points, and like all of those units are more expensive now. And
whenever we would play Horde mode or we would play low point games to get a quickie in before dinner, doing those, I always, even though I wanted to play Thousand Suns, would look at it, think for 2 seconds about Cabal points and be like, not a chance. And now it's like, literally don't try. Thousand Suns does not exist until 2,000 points games of 40k.
I think we can do a quick World Eaters recap.
They're very good, kind of. It's one of those weird ones where like people often think World Eaters is like easy, run your face into the opponent army. They're really not. They're quite hard.
They should be that way. They should play like Space Wolves does right now.
They can play like that, but if you're actually trying to have the best chances of winning, there's a few more things to think about.
Melee armies always have more finesse than we let on because it's that they're noob friendly. They have a high floor. Yes, there is a high skill ceiling when you learn about actually doing your proper baits and counter charges and stuff like that. There is a lot of finesse to playing Unga Bunga Melee. I get it.
Positioning is difficult.
Well, it's not even just that. I don't even think that World Eaters should be Unga Bunga. I think that's like the early start. Like people assume that World Eaters are Unga Bunga, but then you like get more into their lore and stuff, and you're like, well, they're gladiators. Like,
no.
They have lots of that going on, like mentally.
Brickwalled.
Never. I refuse. World Eaters should not be Unga Bunga.
A World Eater player does not read. They don't know what their lore is other than Unga Bunga. They got told once vaguely. After Blood for the Blood God, Skulls for the Skull Throne, yeah, they just charge into melee and hit real hard. That's all they fucking heard. Their brains turned off ever since then. They just paint red and brass.
I mean, kind of base though.
It is, but they should be melee. The person who buys this army, all 4 of their brain cells want to be charging into melee. That's the fantasy of the army.
No, I disagree. I get what you mean. I think the fantasy of World Eaters is not to just go forward. It's to, when you hit the thing, it just fucking dies instantaneously. It evaporates into nothingness. It's like 9th edition lethality in melee only. And how you get there is a bit more finesse. It's not about the destination. You got that shit on lock. It's about learning the journey. Unless you're playing Angron, in which you just kind of put them in the front. I don't know. Maybe my own personal thing. But World Eaters still take tournaments here and there, and they're pretty all right. I think their win rate will always be lower than it should be because of the people assuming that it's just like push people forward.
All right, so I guess the rest of Chaos is just my factions. Real quick, Chaos Demons, not too much actually changed. Eric, you wanted to talk about Shalaxi for a minute?
Yeah, man, it's just another one of those like Magnus, Shalaxi kind of things of, yeah, Shalaxi went down 25 points. If we're being completely honest, it doesn't matter. For any unit that's in 40k, 400 points or more, is such a large portion of your army list, and you know, they're moving so many things away from being that expensive that like you've already committed 450, 425. You're committed. You've decided that that's what you want. It doesn't really matter. It's nice that it went down, but like you're playing it no matter what, just because like you want to play the thing. You want to kill stuff with it. So I don't know. It's like the 25 point drop is nice, but
the opposite yet same part of that point, like the other side of that coin, is the people who think we got away with murder because Great Unclean One didn't go up. And it's like, you run Great Unclean One with the enhancement, and that's the fucking trick. That's what a Great Unclean One looks like. You don't run one without it. And then you're paying, what is it, like 280 points? I don't remember. You're paying that for what is essentially a 130 millimeter base that you can place somewhere on the battlefield on your side because it's very fucking slow. And you can put it somewhere and go, this will never move. And that's how you use it. It's fine. People were like, we got away with it. And it's like, it doesn't do anything. You're paying for a big base that your opponent's not allowed to move.
Honestly, like, it's not doing anything, but also it's like 280 points with everything put together to be a fortification that you own, essentially, right? That's like, this is my area. You don't get to be here. And that's, I mean, that is quite nice to have in lockdown, but it's not doing anything so nasty that it was like, oh, it needs to be like 500 points, dude. It's crazy.
All right, Chaos Knights is the last Chaos thing. God, this is so fucking weird.
I have 5 Chaos Knights. I have 3 Rampagers and 2 Despoilers. That made exactly 2,000 points. So my 5 big guys who bust on your Chaos dies are now down 30 points. So I can add 1 enhancement, yay me.
That's what Eric wanted to bring up.
It doesn't fucking matter, dude. Like,
no, it doesn't. I get 1 enhancement.
Your big knight went down 15 points. That's great. But as a list, it doesn't matter. You only brought 5 models.
So I considered running the 3 Abominants for a list once. The idea I had was 3 Abominants and then nothing but War Dogs after that.
Yep.
And I think I kind of liked it as a threat overload because even though the Abominant is not good, it does have 1 ability that does make it a little terrifying if you leave it unchecked.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
No,
if you leave
it doesn't.
multiple unchecked.
Okay.
Because they stack.
Sure.
Listen, so I don't know how many War Dogs I can get if you run 3 Abominants, but like we've been already talking plenty, I like these stupid ideas.
You can get 6 War Dogs.
All I'm saying is that having a 9-inch aura on a gigantic base to on a 3-up do D3 mortal wounds, and you have that overlap a little bit, if you don't take out the Abominants quick enough, you can get into some funky water, which is going to increase the Chaos Knight win rate by about 0.0003%. Don't trust me, I know I'm wrong.
Okay, so the Abominant is one of those grinds my gears ones like Gilliman of like, read the Abominant next to any other large knight and tell me how cheap it has to be before you run this piece of shit. In 9th edition, the Abominant's big thing was it's so tanky. It can do the big tank thing, or you can do the funny thing with the billion whip attacks.
Yeah, I remember like, oh, the Abominant is this unkillable thing that you just ignore.
Right, because I would just play the Psychic one and you just park it on mid and just make it like, unkillable.
Yeah, all right, just ignore that, play the points game and objective win.
What is the Abominant in 10th? A miserable pile of debuffs.
Yeah.
It's whatever. It can keep going down, and I'm never going to pick the Abominant.
You and I both know that's not true.
There is a point where the body is worth.
Yeah, it's 50 points for a giant knight. I'll take it.
I bet at like 325 it's worth it.
Oh, absolutely. You just said 325 for a large knight.
I know. Mortarian's 300.
Yeah, well, this gets into the whole make my big model big and important. Make me feel happy to slap 500-point models into play like I do in AOS.
We have that a little bit. His name is the Silent King.
Yeah, we'll get to him. He's having a good day. But anyway, the Chaos Knights, much like with the Imperial Knights, have the points changed. Your list probably didn't. That said, it is fucking hilarious that the War Dog Brigand went down in points when it is the best thing in this army. That is the end of it. I just wanted to say Brigand before we left.
I enjoy that the small Chaos Knights went down as well, but Imperial Knights was like, nah, dog, you're doing okay. You don't get that.
Which one is the Stalker? Did that go up?
The Stalker went up very slightly, but look, you started your list with Max Brigands, and then you probably added Carnivores or something, or Stalkers. Either way, your list did not go up in points. Welcome to Chaos Knights. Nothing matters.
Hey, man, I went to an RTT with my 5 big guys, and I went 1-1-1, so something's there.
That's not bad.
It's the ideal tournament, right?
Yeah.
The game I won was against a all-Kroot army, so we don't need to take that, if I'm being honest.
Yikes.
I know. He was cool, though.
We'll get there talking about Groot, but let's move on to Xenos with Aeldari first.
Eldar got buffed. Red alert.
Wee woo, wee woo, wee woo.
Isn't that so fucking true?
Quick, everyone who's salty about the beginning of 10th edition, go scream.
Hi, it's me. I'm everybody. Oh, God. Though I will admit, a lot of the stuff that was brought down, like, wow, did the Wraith constructs have their time in the sun?
They got so nerfed.
They did. And, like, in a sense, the 10-mans are still bad. It's just they brought down the 5-mans.
Whatever. The Eldar changes are fine positives. I don't think much changes for them.
No, the fact that they brought down points on the battle line units could actually matter for, like, general lists of, oh, you can bring, you got another free enhancement, or you've got, maybe enough room for another unit.
I honestly don't care. I mean, Shining Spears are cool. I don't know. I've always thought they were kind of cool. The bikes are neat. Plus, they're like a little annoying. They've got like 5-up invols and they have multiple wounds and they stab you and it hurts. So like, that's cool. Man, fuck Eldar.
All right. If we want to bring up the fuck Eldar. So the fuck Eldar got nerfed.
As Brad, as our resident Eldar fucker, do you mind explaining?
Drukhari real good when we have a detachment that's not the One Piece ship.
I've never heard it said that way.
You haven't listened to our fucking podcast, you fake fan.
I've only listened to the good episodes.
The ones you're on?
So I haven't listened to the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Drukhari One Piece ship index attachment can go fuck itself. But yeah, so we're good now. Too good, so we got nerfs. It's fine. Some Drukhari players are screaming that it's Yunari's fault, but we all know it isn't. I will say the Archon change in the FAQ is a little weird. It's fine. It's just the Warlord clarification thing. Whatever.
It didn't seem like it was a problem to me, but I don't know these lists well enough that I guess people were trying to make it happen and this is a problem.
Okay, here's a question. Why did Drazar go up in points? Drazar's terrible right now.
Isn't him in like Incubi kind of the thing? Because he has like the precision and he goes like, and then just murders you.
But like, he's not good. He really isn't right now. If I'm tryharding with Drukhari, Drazar does not need to be touched.
I had no idea. I mean, his melee profile seems good and he's got like, he makes the Incubi hit really hard. So
I don't know. Anyway, the Drukhari nerfs are not as heavy as it felt when I was looking at my Thousand Suns changes I would have to make.
I mean, these are certainly nerfs overall. I still think the Court of the Archon got hit just because they're like, we don't want people playing this old ass model.
Yes, please stop playing these.
Right? Like, please ignore this.
bugs.
Tyranids.
They got blurfed.
Yeah, Carnifexes are down, but Old One Eye is up. So if you want to run the big combo, it's like about the same. But if you want to run a single Carnifex or whatever, it's cool. Winged Hive Tyrant went down, which is fine. I like Von Ryan's Leapers going down. I've always liked Von Ryan.
He's a cool guy, that Von Ryan.
Yeah, they're his Leapers.
What a cool guy.
They're pretty fun. They don't like rip and tear a whole lot, but they've got like fights first, and they infiltrate, which is a hilarious combo because you can like put them behind a wall closer to your opponent, and they move 10, which is kind of nuts.
They're like a super neat unit, just not generally worth it.
Yeah, they're like a fun blender unit. Like Pyrovores went up individually, so you can't like have a backline holder, just kind of a little dickhead doing stuff. And then they gave the same FAQ about you can only debuff CP, like with the Archon. They confirmed that if you're the Warlord. So
can I just say this is the most typical data slate change, point change update for an army that they're not paying attention to? They're like, what's seeing use? Do some very minor 5-point changes up and down to make it look like we didn't forget about this faction, or everyone will bitch that we forgot about Genestealers for a year and a half.
To be fair, Tyranids not in a terrible spot so long as you ignore the fact that nobody's playing a few of the detachments.
Which is the akin of basically saying no one's playing Imperial Fists among other options.
Very similar, yeah.
So I have a bit of a question for the two of you. We all know that Genestealer Cults are not doing well. We all know that Genestealer Cults needed buffs. However, going the points route is not good because it means you have to field way more Genestealer Cults, which are already one of the most expensive armies in the game. We agree with all of this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They specifically stated a balanced data slate change to Cult Ambush. You guys asked me about the Acts of Faith. I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think it's going to be? Because I have an idea that I think is genius, and they're not going to do it.
I don't think that there is a way to balance it for players that know how to take advantage. You have to hit a 5-up and it does a thing, but if you don't and you banked on it, you're fucked and just lose the game.
This is my thing. I want Called Ambush to actually be guaranteed again. Original index style. Fuck you, they're coming back. Get rid of this damn token. I think it has to come at the same time if you're going to do that as nerfing some stratagem stuff you can do with Cult Ambush right now, which is why it's also so swingy, which is, you have to do that at the same time. I think that would be a general positive for Genestealers, and you could up their points at the same time because you know they're coming back, and it would make you feel like a horde without having to bring 700 fucking models to a 2,000 point game.
If you're gonna make it guaranteed, you'd have to increase points by like at least half on top.
This is what they did in the index. Do you not remember this? And it worked. And then we got our codex and we got the fucking worst rules ever. And they were like, don't worry about it. All of your models cost 5 points.
Yeah, I'm interested. Bricky, what is your...
So we like knobs. More knobs are always good, right? Because you get to turn them and they can make adjustments. I would so much rather prefer Cult Ambush has a number on each data sheet. So if you're the Acolytes with something, it says Cult Ambush 4 up or 3 up. And then if you're like Adelan Jackals, it's Cult Ambush 5 up. Certain units are better at coming back from Cult Ambush because those units are more powerful for whatever reason, are bigger, are more expensive, and that's another thing you can adjust. And then you can make the actual army-wide rule be based on battle round. On battle round 1, add 1 to your Cult Ambush rolls. On battle round 4, -1 to your Cult Ambush rolls and onwards, because it's later in the game and it, you shouldn't be getting back a 3 up on like battle round 4.
We're just reinventing the index.
Yeah, but each unit has a number with it.
Sure. In the index, it was battle line. Yeah.
Pure strain Genestealer should be different. I still think the Goliath truck should have Cult Ambush, but it's on a 6 just because it's funny.
I feel like there is honestly a way to do a hybrid of those where like you introduce a few new keywords and then the army rule has like these 4 or 5 keywords, 1 for 3 up, 4 up, 5 up, 6 up, and then you add those to the data sheets that actually would need them. And then it's one of those like you get the knob to tune for each individual unit, but it's also not like stuck to the data sheet itself.
I also have the problem of focusing on Cult Ambush, while it's good to do something about it, doesn't get over the fact that the codex itself, the detachments in the codex, they're written in such a bad way of doing...
Yeah, they're terrible.
It's not that they're terrible, it's that the way they're written is terrible. They're basically your, this faction only works on this single unit. Go buy max count of this unit and play this detachment. It's the same as Hypercrypt in Necrons being the monolith detachment, but it's literally the fucking codex of that.
It's fine to do that once out of 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you guys know what the most popular Genestealer Cult one is?
Right now, I don't actually know.
Xenocreed Congregation. So Xenocreed Congregation is the one where you get a 3-up Feel No Pain on your characters, and you can also reroll advance and charge rolls when that character is in certain units. Acolyte hybrids, metamorphs, neophyte hybrids. Those are the 3. And then you look at this beautiful little enhancement that renames the entire detachment, and it becomes Xenocreed Congregation, changed to Deeds That Speak to the Masses. Magus, Primus, or Acolyte Icon Ward model only. Once per turn, when rolling for a battle line unit for Cult Ambush, you can re-roll the result. That there is the detachment, is the re-rolling of your Cult Ambush for a battle line once per turn. Per turn, not battle round. Like that alone is everything to me.
Yeah, which matters on when you're stuck to those 5-up, but like...
And it also speaks to...
The masses.
You're not wrong.
It speaks to the problems with the other detachments of like Outlander Claw, the Brood Surge detachment, the fucking Brood Brothers we're not even talking about. We're not talking about Brood Brothers. I get so fucking mad. These detachments are all literally affects this one unit, affects this one fucking unit. And then it's like Xenocreed is your characters, which is broad in the fact that Genestealers is 90% character data sheets like fucking demons. And everything is going to be led because, well, Genestealers without leaders is real fucking bad.
Well, and that's the thing is like, it is locked, but like we have the whole leader mechanic right now, so it kind of opens up a lot more options.
So ideally, I would like to see big changes to how you handle Cult Ambush, but I would also like to see things like get Outlander Claw, get Biosanctic Blood Surge and all that rewritten to be more broadly applicable.
Yeah, but like I think the issue is so many ideas are problematic when you look at Cult Ambush as like, this is the ability that the army has. Okay, now I'm gonna add a detachment idea. Oh, I've broken a bunch of shit because that was too good kind of thing. So it's just easier to narrow focus. But if they make Cult Ambush far more
reliable, make it reliable so that it's not there's a 1 in 3 chance that they double their points.
Yeah.
If it's literally, it's 100% chance they double their points. The faction is now much easier to figure out.
That's true, yeah.
I do like a certain level of the randomness.
Sure. The guarantee is my want. It's not what's going to happen. The guarantee also has to come with downsides attached. As I said, you can't just have this for free. This is coming with a bunch of stratagems getting gutted. This is coming with doubling your points, basically. But I see these as generally a more positive state for Genestealers. For the Genestealer players.
I also just very much enjoy when they're able to pull off randomness in an effective way.
Yeah.
I still consider arguably the best army rule in the entire game, design-wise, to be Dark Pacts. The power is guaranteed. It comes with a cost, but the cost is signing you way up, and even if the cost is the worst possible version, your power is still guaranteed.
Yes.
You might lose a model or take some damage, but it's like the best written 10th edition rule that is flavorful and fluffy while simultaneously being powerful. And so there just needs to be some mixture.
Yeah, to a point that like it might be that Cult Ambush just needs to be a like complete rework, because it doesn't matter if the points drop and the army becomes, you know, better win rate. It's still not great as a faction and playability.
All right, leagues. Bricky, do you have anything to say about leagues changes?
God, no. The Infiltrator guys were too good, and so they're up 10. That's it. I could not care less. Votann are the most like 50% Andes I've ever seen. Give me 6 more units in the new codex, and then we'll talk.
New unit comes out, is good, then gets nerfed. Shocking.
All right, Crons.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Doomsday Arcs Day. Let's go.
Oh my God, there's so many Doomsday Arcs.
Hell yeah. Brad loves those.
I fucking hate this model.
I'm so happy.
I don't actually like Doomsday Arcs either.
I fucking love them. They're so cool.
I own 3. I fucking hate them. I've never fully painted one of my Doomsday Arcs. 2 of them I kept in their original paint scheme I bought them with, because my Necrons, whoever I bought it from, if they had an acceptable paint job, I kept it that way. So 2 of them I never did that way. And my 3rd one, I got halfway through painting it, and like it's got enough colors to be competitively playable, and I will never fucking finish this model. I hate it.
You know, I saw the Doomsday Arcs, and then I saw when they released the Canoptic Doomstalker, and I was like, yeah, that one.
I have 3 Canoptic Doomstalkers. They're all fully painted lovingly because I love them.
They are amazing.
Those ones are pretty good.
Yeah, so biggest thing here, Obeisance Phalanx now uses the Noble keyword, which allows a whole crapload of characters to get buffs, which is awesome. The Silent King gained the Triarch keyword,
Which he should have had the whole fucking time.
I can't believe it took this long. It is insane to me it took this long.
I feel like we've mentioned this on at least 2 other hot takes that it still hadn't happened.
It's been like a year.
I feel like I've heard this exact thing going on in just like a slightly different, disappointing tone as opposed to optimistic.
What's the Triarch keyword mean? Well, it means that they are in the Triarch's direct control. Like, they're loyal only to the Triarch, not to any specific Necron dynasty. Okay, so the Triarch themselves, these 3 assholes sitting on this barge here, do they have the Triarch keyword? No. Why? A year later, they finally fucking fix it.
It actually took a year.
See, the Silent King was asked if he wanted it, and he remained silent, which meant no.
Is GW being thematic?
Yeah, I don't know. It throws me so hard and it makes me very upset.
So you see how Phalanx got a small change, like very little change, but it's huge for how, like, whoa, it's real. Like, it took such a small thing. That's what I want happening on Genestealers. You can change 3 words and fix some of Genestealer's shit.
I don't think that actually fixes it, but
If they had written 1 extra sentence in the fucking Deathwatch Codex detachment thing to say, also you can play Space Marines, also they're Astartes when you do, it wouldn't have caused the big problem we have right now.
it's true.
So am I correct in seeing that the death marks went up 5? I don't know why.
Probably because they were action monkeys and they just wanted to...
Yeah, you're probably right.
It literally, it's the same as with the Zongor Enlightened of, like, they were careful that you wouldn't just swap out something to whatever.
I mean, they're not that bad.
They're bad.
They're not that bad.
They're bad.
Zongors or death marks?
Death marks. Zongors know what their job is. Zongors don't have a purpose other than to be very fast and do objectives.
I disagree. I think death marks have always been somewhat underrated. That's why I'm a little bit surprised. Now, granted, they've always been overcosted, but whatever. On a side note, what are our thoughts on the Annihilation Barge? Because I've been a little pro barge for a bit, and I'm kind of curious your guys' thoughts.
No, but, like, I also was the idiot who bought maximum Annihilation barges and CCBs specifically to run an equal meme list in 9th. So, like, yes, but also, like, no if I'm giving advice to somebody else.
I like their extremely inaccurate and horrible malevolent arcing mortal wounds thing. If it was on a 4-up, I'd feel really good.
That's what it was in 9th, but it was weird.
105 is kind of competitive for the Twin Tesla Destructor as well as the Gauss Cannon. Like, that kind of hurts.
I was just going to say 105 for that Twin Tesla seems good.
Yeah, I mean, Twin Tesla 802 6 shots with Sustain 2 and Twin Linked does kind of hurt. Gauss Cannon has lethal, kind of hurts. I also think it's the fact that it's 105 with 9 wounds and a 4-up invul, and that is just annoying because then you randomly spike it and your Scourges do nothing against a model that they shouldn't have to be shooting at to begin with. And it's just like, haha. I don't know if they're worth it, but like maybe 2 could be kind of fun.
Go big or go home. Run all 3 if you're gonna meme hard.
Yeah, I feel like it's like 1 just to have as like a fun, I had some extra.
Also, don't take my advice. Do not buy Annihilation barges to run a meme list. Don't be me.
No, don't be him. But yeah, no, at these point costs, I think there is a reason to play them.
So what are our thoughts on Triarch Praetorians?
I gotta remember which one those are.
They're the flying ones that are not Lich Guard with the big staff.
I don't run them, which is why you don't remember them.
Okay.
In 9th edition, they were bad because they never got your dynasty. In 10th edition, they're bad.
Now they're down 20 points to 20 a pop. They're T5, 3-up, 2 wounds. They move 10 and they fly as infantry, which is kind of nasty. They do have deep strike. You can also re-roll their charges, and they can charge when they fell back, which is a pretty good suite. The problem is that they have a one-shot gun at 5.22 with 12-inch range, and they have 3 melee attacks at 5.22, which at 20 points a pop is...
Their pistol is a non-thing. Like, it's flavor.
It might be decent at that point cost now.
They might be. I don't know.
It's pretty cheap.
They kind of like can go around, and they're, you know, I always have to see them as if they're being reanimated.
If I'm playing Silent King in Obeisance Phalanx, then sure, I'm definitely going to play them just for the flavor win alone.
Sure. I think the Tesseract Vault getting nerfed is fucking hilarious.
It deserved it, honestly.
I love that thing. One day I will own one.
I genuinely think the Tesseract Vault has been, like, have you guys fought it? It's a nightmare.
Dude, I was trying to sell Eric. I don't own one. I was trying to sell Eric and myself on me buying one, reading him how fun that fucking data sheet is.
It's so fun, man. It's also just like, it's so big.
It's so big. It doesn't fit anywhere.
I just love like Time's Arrow. It's so funny. They're just like, oh, hey, there's your character. Here's 6 dev wounds. Die.
Dude, Time's Arrow in 9th and 10th. Fantastic both times. 9th, it was literally coin flip, kill your fucking character.
Should we stop jerking each other off, Brad, and let Eric jerk himself off for a little bit?
It's orc time, and oh boy, we were gifted some nice options here.
It's so green. Look at all the green.
So, I mean, Orks was not great after they got slapped hard.
FAQ'd everything into oblivion last data slate.
The thing is like, last time, obviously, they got hit hard, but I was like, okay, maybe we'll be fine. You know, it'll be one of those, like, a little struggling, but it'll be okay. No, it really did gut Orcs' power. But yeah, they lowered a bunch of points, and they clarified or let the actual ability work correctly of the war boss getting the Wa if he was in transport, because the war boss with and without Wa, a big difference. So nice that he just works correctly now. Yeah, dude, there's just so many point drops that are nice. The boys and the Besnaga boys going down. Yeah, the boys went down 5, which doesn't seem that much, but given that it's battle line and the fact that we have green tide option, like, it's a big deal. Besnaga boys also going down 10 is pretty nice. The Gorgonaut is 265 now.
Wait, is it actually?
Yes.
Oh my god, that's actually pushed as hell.
It was playable in my opinion at the 280 of like, this seems solid, but like, we gotta figure out how to actually use it, right? 265 is crazy.
Holy.
I'll never know why the Morkanaut costs more.
Oh, I'm sad that Killicans didn't go down. Not that they should have, but I would have loved, like, I love the what was it called, Dread Mob, the push that button one.
Yeah.
I love that, and it seems like all of the mechs going down with that means there's a lot more chance for that one to be usable.
Yeah, I just know the Killican is Eric's least favorite kit ever.
I love the idea of it. The kit's just so bad. It's so old.
Giga Chad Orc hates anything that's Grot related.
No, I love Grot stuff.
The fucker is a Grot obsessive freak.
It's just the Killican's fucking awful.
But it looks dumb. But I mean, isn't that the one that they kit bashed out like a deodorant stick?
Yeah, you like have to do stuff with it.
Pot of Nolan oil or whatever.
It's such a bad kit physically that you have to kit bash shit with it. Like, it doesn't go together well.
I also really like the Death Dread going down, if I could personally say that.
No, it's good.
I know. I love it going down. That's great, because like I like that, because I want to put 4 rocket launchers on it or maybe 4 custom Mega Blasters on it, and then just like run up and fire 12 shots of death.
Dude, the kill rig and the hunter rig going down as well. Like, the kill rig was already a just crazy model, but it didn't really work out well. Part of it is just because like the big hunt is fucking awful.
Sins of 9th edition as well.
But like the kill rig has a lot of shit, man. It's a lot of stats for 155 now, and the hunter rig is just a nice option in addition, so you can have more of them. Commandos, let's go. We got 15 points off, down to 120 for commandos. I'm so happy. Commandos are one of the coolest.
I love commandos. Boss Snickrod is also such a G.
Tank Busters down.
Yeah, Tank Busters went down, dude. 20 points from 110.
They were
and they
terrible.
got the new kit.
Have we seen the data sheet of the new kit yet?
I haven't, and I don't think it's out. So
we might not be looking at the same Tank Busters at 90 points. So let's see what the kit actually looks like.
I feel like this is the let's hype it up a little bit, release the kit, get a different data sheet, and then let's see what happens.
The best part is, like, this is one of the GW can't win scenarios. Tank Busters get new data sheet, it's cracked, and is 90 points. These bastards, they tried to push us to buy 3 units full of Tank Busters. They drop it to 90 points, it's got a terrible data sheet. What the fuck? They couldn't even make the cool new unit have a good data sheet?
Yeah, it is a tough one on that. But like at the same time, Tank Busters at 110 was unplayable. It's fucking awful. All the big mechs are cheaper, which is just really nice in general. And DefCop does down as well. Like, all of these are great changes and about as much as you can push with just like points and not actually like addressing Cult of Speed and the Big Hunt.
The Big Hunt.
I feel like Orks is going to be in a great spot, and we're hoping that in the balanced data slate, they actually relook at Cult of Speed and the Big Hunt. Other than that, like, honestly, like, there's a lot of different ways to play Orks, and this is great. It's definitely going to help the struggling aspect. I'm happy overall.
All right, Elfine Tau.
The fuck was that? What the hell did you say? What the hell was that?
Yeah, why did you call me a fucking elf?
Elfine, the end. The final one. Tau.
He didn't even do the weird thing. Yeah, what the hell?
I don't do the thing. You're all like, what the fuck, say the line, Bart. I do the thing, you bitch.
Yeah, but like, I wanted a reason to bitch at you.
Where's my data slate, GW?
I know you're here, Brad, you dumb fuck. Where's my data slate? Yeah, it's how Empire. I love how immediately after we saw that Kroot Hounds meme, they made it so that now Kroot carnivores can now have 300 Kroot carnivores. You will certainly not regret buying 300 Kroot carnivores.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the Riptide was insane, so it went up 10. The Piranhas were pretty good, bouncing around not actually monkeys, but like they were just pretty good at that price, so they're up 5. Kroot are good again. Let me phrase that. They got better.
Kroot might be playable.
I won't lie. When I fought that Kroot guy with my Chaos Knights, I was like, oh damn, this hurts. I am taking a lot of damage because he primed me with 2 of his guys and then used a strat and then started to slowly whittle away my knights piecemeal. And I was like, oh crap, okay. I'm seeing the issue. But I don't know if Kroot lists will be good. They will also cost you $1 million.
That's my real problem with them. I kind of wish they weren't so buy a billion brand new expensive kits to field one army that's trash.
I don't know if Kroot should really be like super elite either, kind of thing. Like, it kind of makes sense for them to be more numerous, but massive point drops. So
it's weird because, like, I want to be happy about Kroot going down, but it feels like just so much money to make a Kroot list. So much. And you have to play Kroot Hunting Pack, at which point you're going so hard into Kroot.
There's also only so many of them, right?
Man, I hate Tau.
And that's the episode.
I mean, before that, like, at least they made Pure Tide Engram Chip do something.
I know. They keep taking away our memes all at the same time.
Oh, wait, did they?
Yeah, Pure Tide, they errated it so it does something now because it literally didn't do anything in the last 3 months.
I don't get it, ma'am.
It was better when it did nothing.
It's just, again, I could have done that. I saw the Engram chip last data slate.
We made fun of it on this episode. We could have just logged in on GW's account and fixed it and posted and been done.
It was there. Also, they changed surge moves.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
So we're hitting the AC/DC with a double nerf. Kind of a unrelenting nerf a little bit to World Eaters, too? Zerkers?
I mean, yeah, there's a bunch of things that kind of, like, we're trying really hard to move faster and, like, more moves per movement phase, essentially.
Only 1 per phase. is kind of the biggest one. They not being able to make a surge move while battle shocked is actually kind of a neat thing. It just makes battle shock a little bit better. I know it'll never come up.
I could have swore it was already like that.
If it was, I didn't remember it. But
Not like it would ever come up.
honestly, it's one of those things where the more they can make battle shock, like, you know, the orders ability for guard is really poorly worded and not a very great army rule, but it doesn't work if you're battle shocked. I'm like, that's kind of cool.
I loved AOS's battle shock solution.
Oh, Brad, that's fascinating. How did they do it so well?
They got rid of battle shock.
Oh my god.
But in the grim darkness of the far future, you need to be scared.
No.
How
Damn.
about no?
No. See, if you want something to have a battle shock theme, you just have it fucking kill models.
Yeah, they did that. It was called morale before, and it wasn't good.
I'm saying like if you need to show Night Lords having battle shock after you take battle shock out of the game, you take morale out of the game, just give them something that's fucking kill model ability for a stratagem. That's how you can show that it battle shocked someone.
Oh yeah, 100%. I was waiting for the Night Lord rule where when someone fails battle shock, they lose a singular model if they're not like a monster or a vehicle or something of that nature. But unfortunately, they gave that to an enhancement for one of the detachments for vanilla Space Marines.
Obviously.
Let me scream my Night Lord Andrew Wincott loving head off while I tell you about the wonderful, incredible detachment, the first company task force that gives your Oaths of Moment reroll wound roll back. And let's check out the amazing enhancement called Fear Made Manifest. 30 points, by the way. When an enemy unit within 6 inches of the bearer fails a battle shock test, they lose one model, and once per battle, it's D3 models.
Neat.
You know how mad I am
that's
about
worth
that?
being mad about that you don't just copy paste that into Night Lords. That seems like an easy win.
It's such an easy win. And it's even like worse because, you know, you're reading a little bit of Night Lord's book, aren't you, Brad?
I finished the first Night Lords book.
It's so good.
It's pretty good.
What do you mean pretty good? I heard you say pretty good.
I want to finish the trilogy before I give a full opinion, but the first
I was
going to
say,
good.
I feel like that was not the endorsement that you were expecting.
No, it's fine. The first book I really, really like. It's actually my least favorite of the three.
That's kind of my thing of like the Bile trilogy is fantastic as a whole. It has down parts that I don't want to like pollute other people where I think the down parts are until we do like a proper book club on it. But overall, it's fantastic. And I feel like that'll be the Night Lords trilogy. But like the first book was like, it's pretty good. But like I keep getting told that this is life changing and I need to feel it.
I mean, I was the one who told you it was life-changing, so if you haven't set your expectations properly, that's kind of your own fault.
It did make you collect Night Lords, so like, I'm expecting it's going to be pretty good. Like, Bile, I went in expecting not to like it other than the fact that I keep getting told I would like it, and I ended up really liking it. So I'm expecting that'll be the case with Night Lords. It's pretty good so far.
Good.
Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, back to surge moves, it's honestly a pretty big deal for certain armies, but it seems like it removes the, like, punishment for bad play kind of thing. Like, a newer player that doesn't really understand isn't going to be punished as bad.
It lowers the ceiling so that you don't have to rely on doing a trick to, yeah. And, like, as a Thousand Suns player, get fucked the rest of you. We already got told we couldn't move 16 times in a movement phase with spells.
So overall, I mean, like, not the balanced data slate that was expected, since that's apparently coming in a bit, but they did fix or at least bandage a few weaker factions and, you know, knock down a few of the potentially problematic ones.
This is very much a softball balance update. I wasn't expecting another copy of what happened this summer, for sure. I have a wish list for things in this upcoming one that I'm really hoping they hit. For the love of God, GW, it cannot be this hard to rip a page out of all of the upcoming codices and post it so I can have some goddamn fucking variety, please. I'm not asking for a full codex out of nowhere, but at least give everyone a second index detachment.
I just want them to, like, put the number next to the green and the red thing.
Real low bar. The lowest fucking bar, GW.
Brad wants entire index detachments. Bricky's like, just put a number in parentheses.
They do the number part. We're going somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Now, if Brad gets what he wants, then I actually have, like, faith. If I get what I want, I have the minimum. Brad's goes to the moon. I, like, get to wake up the next morning.
There's still hope of some.
Do you guys want to know something depressing? Or not depressing, depending on your viewpoint?
Sure.
There are approximately 18 months left in this edition.
That's horrible.
We don't have codices for half the factions still. I'm playing on my goddamn fucking index. All of Chaos is playing on their fucking index with the exception of CSM.
I feel like there should be more time, but like it's very possible that we're just going to have 4 codexes released 3 months before the new edition.
Yeah. Fucking release codices in a timely manner so we can play the fucking game together before you change edition.
Yeah, maybe one day.
Anyway, love you, GW. Buy our merch.
Yeah, GW, buy our merch. Right.
That's how I do that, right, Bricky? That's shilling.
You're getting there. You're working on it.
We're selling to an audience of like hundreds instead of the rest of the audience. But, you know, we'll get there eventually.
Hey, listen, the people who haven't checked out the merch are the ones missing out when you think about it. Because a lot of them are like, oh, there they go. There's random new merch and things. That's because they just haven't tried it yet. So it's kind of their fault when you think about it.
All right, let's...
Holy shit, the fucking dice are on the website already.
God damn, they're quick.
Are they not supposed to be?
No, they're supposed to be.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, there they are. Dice. Check out your Poor Hammer logo dice.
Bricky, you said it wasn't possible.
No, I didn't. I said it would take me a little bit.
You said it wouldn't be possible. You underestimated your team. They're so talented. They all deserve raises, right, Bricky?
Actually, because you decided to go and yap about the most milquetoast change to the points of all time, I had them doing it during this entire episode.
You're the one who brought up Triarch Praetorians for 5 minutes.
It's only 2 hours, okay?
It's been 137 minutes in this episode. My 5 minutes is fine.
We're well under the 3-hour expectation, okay?
You wanted to spend the whole time complaining about your damn Drukhari, or not Drukhari, about your sex elves.
No, it's fuck Eldar.
Right. That's you're correct.
Punctuation matters.
Fuck Eldar and fuck Eldar.
It was the copyrightable name.
Yeah, right.
Sex Elves wasn't copyrightable. We went with fuck Eldar.
Yeah, sex elves isn't as fun, but sex cells, that's a bit better. This is stupid.
All right. And on that note, wherever that got cut, we're out of here.
Sounds good.